would like to introduce our second speaker, Dr. Pesticidas, from the Automotive Department, University of Colombia. Where the lecture entitled Internal Pesticide Exposure and Challenge to the Approach.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for your kind presentation. And now I am going to share you our work with Dr. Tolar and Dr. Miroslav Tolar. Maternal exposure to pesticides, a big challenge toward cleft prevention. And I want to start my lecture asking you a question. Do you think it is possible to prevent orofacial clefts? That background, cleft lip and or palate is a craneofacial difference characterized by an incomplete separation between nasal and oral cavity. Around 65 to 70% correspond to non-syndromic cases, and the most of them are preventable. Nowadays, we know that it has a multifactorial etiology and include chemical exposure like pesticides. We know that epigenetics is the way like environment can change our gene expression, and the link between epigenetics and pesticides has been well established in different pathways. In a pathway that has been studied is the DNA methylation in the last years. But we have a big concern here. This is the way that different countries around the world use pesticides everywhere for crops or for different issues. In this graph, we can see that China is in the 3rd place, Colombia is in the 4th place, and Japan is, for example, in the 8th place. We need to work on it. If we see these signs every day, each where they're spraying on our population, we have these chemicals in our food, in our air, and even in our water. If people don't know how to use it without any barrier, we will increase this health problem worldwide. For this concern, we did this systematic review and meta-analysis that we present the last year in Seoul with Dr. Tolar as well and Dr. Tolar, and we identified that overall maternal exposure to pesticides may increase the risk for orofacial clefts around 44%, and even may increase the risk for cleft lip and or palate, non-syndromic cleft lip and or palate, around 72%. And if we know about this, if we have known about these risk factors, if we know that orofacial cleft is one of the major public health, and we can to prevent them. And we know that every 2 minutes a baby is born with cleft in worldwide. We need to work and start to work as soon as possible in prevention and strategies for programs. But what the next step? How can we apply this information for chemical exposure toward cleft prevention? To answer this question, we developed this search strategy, and to know if prevention activities in health is effective, we developed this search strategy, identifying some papers with high quality, like a systematic review and meta-analysis about health education in healthcare, and we identified that this proposal can reduce some risk factors and can change some style of life in our populations. Maybe some studies in prescription for exercise for professional health workers can increase the prescription for exercise in population when they are training on that. Even for vaccination of opportunities, it improves the results, and as well for diabetes mellitus, we can change some style of lives and some behaviors in our population. But the next question is, how can we apply successful strategies in other epidemiologic initiatives toward cleft prevention? Now, if we check 2 examples, I would like to talk about SARS-CoV-19 and diabetes mellitus. If you know, it was a big challenge for all the world, and it means that when we work together, governmental and non-governmental organizations, it means that when we are together in the same goal, good things happen, and we need to work together. But we have a question now. What is the recommended way to do it if we want to develop some strategy for prevention of orofacial clefts? Is there any guideline to do it? We found a useful tool for epidemiology, information, education, and communication. We are talking about some strategies for primary healthcare. Information refers to the work in a mass groups. Communication, it has like a target at the smaller groups, and education is focused in at target groups with more impact, but each one of them are very important to achieve our goals. The methods of IEC, how does it work? First of all, we need to planning, we need preparatory activities and material development. Next, then we need to work on it and put in practice. And then we need to evaluate our results constantly. How would be the workflow? We need to have a diagnosis, to planting some objectives or goals, then to planning using WH question is a good methodology to do it. Then we need to present our project to governmental and non-governmental organizations. Then we need to let that technology and science work together for the same goal. And then each actor needs to identify how, when, and where they can to support our strategy. Then we need to implement it, and then we are the continuous feedback. We need to real-time data because we need to know what it works and what doesn't. But the next question is, what should be the first target group to apply prevention strategy? If we check some successful strategy for prevention worldwide, we can identify that we need to work at the same time for each group, for professional health workers, our colleagues, and general population. And we need to do it at the same time. There is a lot of work to do it, but together we can get it easier. About WH questions, what is a prevention program for maternal exposure to pesticides? How? We need to develop a teamwork planning and to have online and offline availability of our information. Who? Governmental and non-governmental organizations. We need to be open to detect some leaders, health workers, and we need to work together with the Minister of Health. It will be easier for us. Where? Location, cities, and countries that want to include a pilot story, and when? As soon as possible. But the next answer, the next question is, it is possible to apply this method with other risk factors. We know there is a lot of risk factors for orofacial clefts. And the good news for us is that we can do it with other risk factors because it's the same methodology to do it. There is something called umbrella campaign, and it is totally possible. What scenarios can we work and develop from now on? We need to work so much in some software, some platforms, a big data. We need to maybe universal platforms to have a real-time information. We need to be open to new knowledge like marketing, sociology, philosophy, to identify what is looking for the best way to let our project toward the world. Some years ago, when we talk about polio, everybody says, okay, no problem, we have the best prosthesis, we have the best physical therapy, but I think that the best treatment is prevention. I really have a big concern because there is a lot of even professional health workers that don't know that orofacial clefts can be prevented. So I asked to myself, how it is possible that we have information for more than 40 years that we can reduce the incidence, and we don't know nowadays with the availability of information offline. We need to work on it. Maybe it's a focus of medicine right now. Maybe we are so focused on illness that we forget that one of our principal objectives is to keep our healthy population. If you check, you can identify 17 studies for mental disorders versus one, how to increase your happiness. Maybe we need to change the focus. Only show in neurocleft identify around 200 protocols to treat cleft patients. We need to change our chip. Okay, this is our association in Colombia, ADC craneofacial. Please take a picture of this slide and join us. Now I want to thank you, everybody. I want to thank to my mentor, Dr. Tolaroba. Thank you so much for mentoring me, as always. It's really an honor for me to share with people with the same passion to work together for health, public health, to work together for human beings. From bottom of my heart, arigato gozaimasu. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the lecture. Actually, we have time for questions. Anyone have any questions? Please proceed to the microphone.
I have to say something, right? Reto did enormous piece of work toward finding pesticides which may influence it. And I think what he says out, and it's very important, that we have to focus on education, and education based on fact, on knowledge, not only in general. So, yes, prevention and going toward the pesticide and maternal exposure there in your place will be usable in your place. May not be able, I think I'm loud enough, maybe not able to actually apply to other places. But again, we have to learn that. We have to learn what is new and apply knowledge which we have from the science to our patients. Okay?
Of course.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for your time.